All right, man. Take two. Take two.
Round two, round two. La la
Na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
la 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 la.
Reminisce.
Woo. Reminisce over you.
Yo,
Yes.
man, we are starting early today, man. It's we did an attempt at 5:30 and something happened with the Facebook link. I don't know, but hopefully it's on point now. And yeah, man, we started early today, but we'll get into the reasons why. But just a little experiment, and we just got to go with the flow, and that's what happens, man. But that being said, man, brother, man, like you moved into your new space, man. How you doing? What's your check-in? Let us know what's going on, man, for Reminisce Show.
Oh, I'm happy. It's a new chapter. It's a new chapter in my life. I feel like it's the best chapter yet. I feel really inspired because this is the most space I've ever had to live in. Ceilings
Okay,
are really high.
come on
Ceilings are
now.
really high. My head feels clear. I feel like my life is organized. I can organize my art, my music, and my journalism, and it's not all in this big convoluted pile where it's like, oh, one day I'll get to it, but you don't want that day to ever come because it's work. It's like,
Right, right, right.
yeah, like I got piles of newspaper going back 10, 15 years, and even 20 years, a little more. So I'm going through these piles to be like, all right, I can't carry all this stuff. So I'm digging through it, and I'm like, okay, that's garbage. That's garbage. Oh, look, here's Kamau when he performed on King Street one time. Boom.
Man,
Oh, look. Oh, Tanika Charles. Oh, boom. Oh, look, here's Rose and Nick from Lao on the cover of I Magazine. Boom. So it's like all this, all like I'm catching up to all our friends, little pieces of media. Like, oh shit, look, there's Saul Guy. Bam, bam, bam. Like, oh
right.
look, this is like the Kanon's first cover on anything.
Ooh,
Like, so I'm finding like so much gold, and I'm like, okay, this is fun to go through. Let me go through this, get rid of my garbage that I don't need anymore, and then really just hone my music down. And yo, I got so much gold to give to the show. It's gonna be a good time.
I love it, man. This is what the Reminisce Show is all about, man. Archiving this history and letting people know the foundations, man. Because we can't forget. Like people want this history to be erased and just forgotten, man. But this is all the traditions of Saint Kofa, and this is why we say it so often, man. Because the more we recognize and the more we figure out like the foundations of where we come from, man, like the stronger we are. And then that gives a clearer direction into the path that we need to be going. So big up to you for holding that archive and all that. I think about so much stuff that I've had in the past, and I've just kind of thrown them away, like flyers, ticket stubs, media passes, like all kinds of things, like this like memorabilia that I've just kind of been like, meh. But I'm sure I got some stuff like lying around. I'm gonna you've encouraged me to kind of go through some of my archives and see what I can pull up. I'm sure there's some stuff there. I'm sure there's some stuff there.
I know you got for sure you got it for sure, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know why I didn't think it would be this long. I found my first flyer ever. I for my first album release party at the Comfort Zone in
Yeah.
1998.
Wow.
Like I'm
98.
finding so many good things. Like when I used to not even go by the name Mindbender. Like so all this stuff. It's like, wow, this is cool. I found like old rhyme books from '93 that have like pure '93 slang in it. It's like, yo, kicking it on, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so
It's like
it's so
fresh.
great. Right? No, you're mad night. Like, yo, on the ill tip.
On the ill tip, yes,
Like,
yeah.
yeah. So it's
MC.
just it's so dope. But how are you doing, man? How's life with you? What how was your
Yo,
week?
man. Doing well, man. Week was pretty chill. Today was just like an organizing day. Just getting some stuff planned for like my virtual schools, and I got some like new ideas and things that I want to dive into, like more creativity, like more content creation, more like music, more artistic expression. So I got some ideas, and I'm just glad that I got like a really solid like team around me, a team of creatives, including yourself, that are just on the same frequency. And I find that that's like so important nowadays, man, to be very intentional with the energy that you have around you. Like I don't need to be around any and everybody, but if I have the right individuals, man, that just like magnifies my energy and puts it forward. So I'm just excited, and just like, simple example, like today, like we typically start at 7. but I know that you had like some plans that we had to reschedule, and then those plans like kind of like fell through, and now we're here. But for me, it was really about like us just like still being consistent and still like doing what we can, that middle ground, that compromise to make things happen, and also too just to see like maybe doing stuff earlier might be a good idea, or who knows, maybe 7 is the time. But you were
Yeah,
actually saying 6 o'clock, to come on like the 6 o'clock news type vibe, so
that
I thought
that
that was
I
an
mean, yeah.
interesting idea.
That's it. I mean, if any listeners or viewers have any
Yeah,
comments about things, let us know. Like, what if, maybe it would be for 2022, or yeah, like this year's almost done, so maybe if next year we started at 6 o'clock, I would, and like, I like the idea I like is like that it's the 6 o'clock news, because I
come on,
really love the integrity that you and I have
yeah,
about telling the truth, and it's
come on
just
now, come on,
like
yeah,
that was an old school thing. That's the society we came from. The whole world
right,
would be like,
right,
okay, at 6 o'clock, you sit down and you find out what's happening in the world. And those are the people that you trusted the most. Like your six
indeed.
o'clock news anchors that was Dan Rather and Barbara Walters and all that shit. So it's like, yo, man, these people speak with integrity and they're not going to like report no fuckery news. And
Right, right,
like,
right.
yo, they like, so it's just an idea. So, let us know what you
Well,
think, people. If
yeah,
like we're always gonna try to keep evolving and stuff. Like,
indeed. And we'll get more into like this aspect of like news and like having like journalism that's told through like a lens of integrity, and how we even came up, because especially with this whole world of social media, like which we'll get into in a bit. But I want to give space for a rapper's birthday, man, that is today, man, who passed away few years ago, man. Prodigy, Mob Deep, rest in peace, man. Like he was a poet, and I just found out that today was his birthday, and it's really interesting because as we know, like Halloween passed and whatnot, and I was like doing some like deep like meditations and reflections, but and part of my night was actually dedicated to like artists that like passed away, specifically rappers, so I was really kind of going into their songs and played a lot of DMX, played a lot of Prodigy, Big Pun, Tupac, obviously, and so on and so forth. But I was really like getting deep into like Prodigy and what he stood for, and his evolution, coming from like the ignorance of the streets, but then he was like becoming like awakened, to like a lot of different things, like changing his diet and becoming more spiritual and understanding some of like the systemic oppressions that are going around, and not just being like a puppet and just kind of like promoting a certain lifestyle. Like he was really coming to this place of awareness, and then only to find out that today was his birthday. I found that really interesting, because like his energy when I was listening to it was very strong, like the presence and the messaging. So I just found it really interesting that his birthday is just right around the corner. So as we know, like energy lives on, doesn't die, just changes form, and he's left his mark. Like he left a huge catalog for us to build in, man. But like, what's your connection with Mobb Deep? I mean, Mobb Deep was definitely influential with me, man. So like, let's get some space for Prodigy, yo.
yo, love to Prodigy, love to Albert Johnson forever, man. Like, I co-sign everything you say. And to be honest, I was a Prodigy fan longer than I've been a JayZ fan, and
Uh,
I found Reasonable Doubt on cassette in '96. But I've been listening to Prodigy since 1992, 93,
Come on.
before the Infamous in '94. And I was just having a conversation online 2 days ago. Somebody was like, "Yo, they were like, I can't believe y'all don't know that the Infamous is Mobb Deep's second album. That's not their first album. Their first album is called Juvenile Hell. The singles on it were Peer Pressure. Anybody who knows Mobb Deep knows the pressure. Gotta find a way to deal with the
Uh,
pressure. That's
yes.
old school Mobb Deep. That's the first song they ever dropped. DJ Premier put a remix of Hit It From the Back. I think Hit It From the Back was like one of the like old
Right.
school. I'm talking about '90s slang. Like
Yeah.
Mobb
Yeah.
Deep put out that like so like I've loved not Mobb Deep and Prodigy 30 years, and I never got to shake his hand. I never got to look him in his eye once, just to be like, "Yo, dog, I love you, man. I love your rhymes. You're like a dad to me. You're an uncle. You're an OG. You're a teacher." And just to like
Right.
really, really co-sign what you said at the end, Prodigy was maybe one of the first rappers, even better. He was a better leader than Nas and Jay-Z in a certain way. And like
I agree.
When Prodigy went to jail, he's like, I'm cutting out the drinking and smoking. Like I'm going, I'm clearing my head, I'm clearing up my diet. And he wasn't like in the spotlight when this was happening. It wasn't like popular. He was just like doing it because it was the right thing to do.
That's
And
it.
it's like I like, not to disrespect, but like at Aftermath, like Busta Rhymes and a couple of those guys, they're like, yo, let's all start working out. Like when 50 Cent went to G Unit, Busta Rhymes and Dr. Dre and them, and they are like, oh, let's all start working out. And 50 Cent works out. And it's like, and then a few years later, I saw Busta and he's like, got this big belly. I love him. I love him. But I was like, yo, it's like, yo, were you
Yeah.
working out because like the 50 Cent influence, or like did you really want to do it yourself? So I'm just saying, like, Prodigy
Right.
is the kind of dude who just did what he did for himself, and he was such a leader, and I love him. But
I
what you
just
got?
to
What you
add,
got?
just to add to that, man, I got this Prodigy shout out. You know, him representing with Stone. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play this first, and then I'm gonna say my piece, yo. So this is Prodigy. This is like one of the shows, man. Shout out Born King, man. You know, SFA fam representing, and yo, man.
You know, Stone from Africa, we here to go.
Without H and I see and we small deep, you heard?
You know what I'm saying?
That's real shit, you heard?
Stone from Africa, you really know peace of the gods, you know what I mean? Mad love. You know what I'm saying?
Ah,
Come
Born.
on, man.
That's all I wanted to do.
Hard,
Just a handshake, one. Yo,
hard, man.
that's
Hard.
peace. That's
But
peace. Peace to the God. Peace to
yeah,
the
like
God.
Prodigy is one of that dudes. Okay, a few things. So speaking on the health tip, there's a series that I encourage everybody to watch. You know, it's called The Therapist. I don't know if you've seen that, The Therapist,
I was
where
just gonna bring it
where
up. That's the
where
one
the
I saw
brother
first.
where he interviews I mean, they're all pretty good actually. There's like a lot. Like he interviews like Waka Flocka, Young MA, Joey Badass, but the Prodigy one really, you know, gave some insight into like his lifestyle and his experiences growing up with like sickle cell and being a kid. You know, like he grew up thinking that like God doesn't love him and whatnot, and why would he give him all this pain? And then when you hear it from that lens, and then you hear his music, it makes sense. But then later on in his life, he came to a place where he realized that like, hold on, like this is actually like he's here for a reason, and there's something that he can bring to the table, some type of awareness and whatnot. But just to go back to like the health consciousness, because Prodigy was always on that tip. Like you may not even know this, but Prodigy was on a skit on the Dead Prez album. There was a song called Be Healthy.
That's right.
There's a song called Be Healthy, and then there's a skit where he's
That's
talking
right.
about where he's just like, yo, man, like hold up, yo. He's like, we gotta start doing better, man. We gotta stop this drinking and smoking, and we gotta do this for the babies, man. We gotta start thinking about our health and all this stuff. Yo, this is 1999 on the Dead Prez album. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I remember when I first saw it, I'm like, yo, that sounds like Prodigy. And I'm like, yo, this guy was always on the tip, man. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret Society, trying to keep the eye on me. That was on the LL Cool J album. You know what I'm saying? Like the 4-3-2-1. So
Yeah.
he always had that splash, but then he got to a point where he's like, yo, man, I'm going all in now. You know, so big up, Prodigy. I want to play this clip where of him performing in Toronto, man, on the Reminisce Show. Let's let the God live for a bit, man. Shout out to Righteous, man. Yo, I know you see us coming through a little early today. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Try to but yo, let's play this real quick, man.
Think of Havoc. Down your leg. And enemy one time, I gotta tell you, right in front of your eyes. Right. But this front line is bang, but bang. I gotta tell you. Look at the man. That's your footage, yo?
Yeah, so we ain't been out here so fucking
My
long.
God.
20 years. Crazy, my nigga. Say, yo, everyone tonight, make some fucking noise, man. We just getting started, man. Let's take them down.
Hey. Yeah, yo, that's
Good
not
God.
my footage. That is not my footage. Yo, I just found that out because I remember when you know that they were out here, and I do have footage. I just don't have it uploaded. So I just went on a quick search and I found that, man. So big up Prodigy from Mobb Deep, man. I'm so glad that he was able to get a Stolen from Africa shirt and represent and show that love. I mean, I've met a lot of my heroes, you know what I mean, and they've been showing love and representing. So to me, it's all hip hop. It's all one and the same movement. You know, the African diaspora, man. This is what we do. We keep building, man. So, hey, so that's a vibe right there, man. But
That is so real.
speaking of like hip hop news, I know that there's some other stuff that has been going down, man. It's pretty historic, man. So I don't know if you want to jump on that, man. Touch base on that.
Wait. Oh, yo. Shout out to JayZ. That news. Yeah, JayZ. Not only JayZ, but JayZ and LL Cool J were both inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2 days ago. And shout out to both of them. It's really cool to see them dudes. JayZ, I think he's got the most Grammys out of any solo artist. 50 million albums, 75 million singles, blah blah blah. He's just one of the biggest rappers of all time, obviously. And so the thing is, I really wanted to talk about the fact that he really did not forget Dame Dash on when he was
Indeed.
giving a shout out. And like they were, he picked up a lot of the people in his career, but I was really happy to see that in a moment of really reminiscing upon history, and he really had to go back. Dame was not forgotten, and Jay said it in the best way. He goes, yeah, me and Dame might not see eye to eye anymore, but I could not get up here and not say his name. And I was like, that is as real as it gets.
That is.
And it's like, yo, you cannot
Honor.
reflect upon your historic run without mentioning your day ones. Even if you and your day ones are having war right now, you just have to. So Jay didn't forget where he came from, and I really respected that he just said it like that. Like, well, and what about?
Yeah, I didn't get to check the speech or whatever, but I did see some of those updates, and I appreciate that too. Because we can't erase history. They're obviously in different spaces right now, but just to give that acknowledgement, I think it's like important. And I do recall him saying something to the nature of like what Rockefeller created that time, like that can't be duplicated. Like there's a certain synergy, a certain energy, and the time period that they came in. And the things that they were able to accomplish and do and network and just like do things for the culture, that's not really going to be replicated. You know what I mean? So there was a Rockefeller era, you know what I mean? And the way how they came through and just, created opportunities for other people and so on and so forth. Like it's incredible. You know what I mean? Like they were the first ones to sign Kanye, you know what I mean? So, and so many other artists, you know what I mean, to come through. So, big up to them. And I know that LL Cool J got inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well. It's kind of late. I think he should have got in a little earlier. But hey, that's just me. Like I've been an LL Cool J fan from time. One of the most consistent MCs, like original pretty boy rapper, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
the first.
You know what I'm saying? Like really brought that that energy, man. But it's just great to see him getting his flowers and recognition. I know that Sirius Radio has LL Cool J's Rock the Bell Radio, and they play a lot of classic songs and stuff like that. So yeah, man, it's good to see like hip hop being recognized, and hip hop is the new rock and roll. So to have
Yeah.
them, acknowledged in that capacity, I think makes sense. Like some people are like, well, why are these people like there? But if you're looking at it from what it is, I mean, yeah, it does make sense actually, and we do need to be celebrated. So yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like hip hop is the new rock and roll. It's the biggest genre on the planet. And not only that, but like the idea of rock and roll is rebellion. And what is more rebellious than JayZ being a crack dealer from Marcy and becoming a billionaire through clothing, alcohol, music, and capitalistic dominance? Like, come on, like that's hip hop is literally like doing rock and roll energy every time it's like, fuck y'all, we still here. Just hip hop
Still here,
existing is
man.
rock and roll. So
And for
yeah,
me,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's just beautiful to see hip hop like in that space. Like we're seeing artists who entered the game in their like teens, and now they're like in their like 50s and pushing. Man, I'm trying to see like these guys in their 80s and 90s. Man, let's keep it going.
Yeah.
We need that because like hip hop is a young genre, and it's important that our legacy remains and doesn't get lost to like some of the social media clout and all these things that are used for instant gratification that's going around. It's like, no, this is our history. This is Sankofa. So
Brother, I cannot tell you how much I agree with that. As I'm cleaning my house, I'm going through all my media, all the magazines I've kept, all the stuff. The newspapers, I got newspapers that don't exist anymore, a lot of black media that doesn't exist anymore. And I wanted to talk to you about that at a point in the future, maybe in 2022 for February. I want to talk about all the black magazines and black writers and journalists that don't have a space and a voice anymore. And people who were doing stuff 10, 20 years ago. And it's like, yo, before the internet. But
as you're saying that, who we're gonna have featured on that right off the top, man? Yo, brother Dalton, yo.
Yeah, let's do it.
And build on that, man. You're gonna have
let's
your archives.
Do that.
That's February. Y'all getting the exclusive right now, but we getting ahead of ourselves, man. But that's
exactly. You read my mind. I was just thinking, like, yo, man, I wrote to that dude for and like we're just gonna pull out some magazines. I found some Word magazines, Peace magazines, and all these things. And like I when I was looking at the old rap magazines, I look in the back of the source, and the closest thing we would have to like some like internet gossip or whatever is the Rap Bandit and the Dennis Files. That's what they would call them. Right. And that's at once a month at the back of the source, it would be like, word on the street is this cat got robbed. Word on the street is this person is pregnant. Word on the street is this and this. But you couldn't report it without a certain level of integrity, and you couldn't say it unless you had some kind of source to be like, this is actually true, but I can't tell the full story right now, or I don't have all the details.
Yeah, you don't have it.
So yeah, we're not gonna run a headline that is not true just for the sake of attention. We have integrity to be like, all right, we're going to keep on this story because it's still developing. And I could just sense the integrity and honesty that people had when they put their name beside something. There wasn't no anonymous stuff. It was like, yo, I'm a journalist. I wrote this article. I interviewed this person. I put my name behind this, and I'm putting the truth out there. And I'm saying all this to say, like, we don't live in that era anymore, journalism. And like, I want to lead into what you brought up to me this morning that I never knew about.
Well, just to add on to that, because when we're talking about the integrity of journalism and what was happening in those, time periods, like social media didn't exist, right? So like this like fast food delivery, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, spit it out. As soon as things happen, it's like, boom, it's everywhere, like within a blink of an eye.
Yeah, there was no TMZ world.
No, there was no TMZ world. Everything is just so instant. And right now it's like, who can put out the information the quickest? Not even necessarily about, is this actually true? But
not accurate.
Right. People want to be the first to break certain news. And, it just had me thinking, because like you said, like when magazines would publish things, they would come out once a month. Yeah. Nowadays we have, nowadays magazines are now, Instagram pages, and they're publishing stuff like every like, well, whenever things come, like every 10 seconds or whatever. Yeah. So it's an abundance of information. And that like time period of having like a month to to curate information, to curate content, you would have to go through all kinds of different writers and executives and whatever to make sure that this content, is what they're going to put out. Because there, like you said, there's only so much you can put out in a magazine. There's only a certain amount of pages, certain amount of word count, certain amount of images and whatnot. And I know this to be true because I remember like hollering at Urbanology for like a year before we got an article in there. You know what I mean? Because like they reached out to us and be like, okay, this is time, because like they were doing like a Canadian like artist special, and our story fit well in that like narrative. So it was very calculating. It wasn't impulsive. So I get it from that space. But now with everything being so about like clout chasing, and everybody's just trying to like
get their viewers up, get their viewers like anything to get more numbers. Buy anything. Buy them. Buy them. Put dead bodies on. Put like, troll people, jokes, like violence, world star, like all that.
Yeah, man. So in the social media era that we're in right now, it's all about attention. And how can we get people's attention? Well, not us, but like how do they get people's attention by any means? So if they're exploiting people, if they're showing violence, if they're showing all kinds of like oppression and just destructive, toxic content, then they're going to be doing that. So this kind of led to a topic that happened today. There is, I guess, like I don't even think this person necessarily an artist, but she was like a social media personality, let's just say, and really known for just a lot of like different antics and doing things that they say like chasing clout and like arguing and causing beefs and just like a lot of like social media like beefs and back and forths and getting a lot of attention on that capacity. I personally didn't tap into that type of energy. That's not really my thing, but I am aware of this person. And this is someone who, from an observation standpoint, I noticed, because I've worked with youth, I've worked in communities and whatnot, and I recognize like elements of mental health or just like substance misuse, you know what I mean? Like, and I kind of seen that and I see how people were kind of like using like her and her like dysfunctions and her mental health, like kind of like against her, like really just exploiting it. And I couldn't help but to think that a lot of people think that, or she may have thought that these are people that have her best interests and are supporting, but they're really just there for like the clout and this destruction and so on and so forth. I'm literally like leading her to the fire. Ultimately, it was discovered that today she passed away due to an overdose. That's what the media blogs are saying. I don't have any much information other than what people are saying. And it's interesting because these same blogs that would like cover her and post her antics and all of this, all of the negative stuff are now kind of like showing this like empathetic side and discussing mental health, and even set up a GoFundMe page to support, which is great, because when someone passes, it's expensive, and I do respect that aspect that the community is coming together. But it kind of reminds me of like when DMX passed. It's like when we see these people like going out and it's literally crying for help, and then nobody does nothing. They kind of like just whip out their camera, start filming and putting that online. But look, they're going crazy. And then when they pass, it's like, yo, man, like this was a legend in the city. Like,
wish they got some help, yo. That's so sad to see. It's like you were literally witnessing it firsthand. You were so close to helping them. Like, you could have helped if you put the cell phone down and called the fucking ambulance or something. Called the mental health hotline.
100.
So it's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. And like, yeah, I mean, I didn't know her name. I saw that she was 17, 18 years old.
18 years old, yo.
Ain't like dead of an overdose at 18. Like, yeah, unfathomable. There's no, and like,
crazy.
Yo, I saw that. I mean, I was impressed a little bit that the media outlet that was apparently exploiting her the most or a lot actually was honest enough to kind of take some responsibility a little bit when people were calling them out after they had announced her death. Right. So they're like, yeah, she's dead and is a legend. And literally almost every single comment was like, you are the people that were actually making fun of her. You were exploiting her pain and suffering, whatever. And people were just not holding back. They're like, what is this hypocrisy? You're bigging up this person like literally yesterday you were posting shit about her pain. So I didn't actually see this person, but the video was them really struggling in a Eaton Center at Dundas Square, and I saw that video and I was like, wow, this person, yeah, it definitely looks like they are might better be off in Cam H than on the internet. Like, what's
You know, but it really just shows like this is where we're at in society, where people, it's like pain is other people's pleasures, until it happens to you, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, like we want empathy and whatnot, and this is why like the platforms that we're creating is so important and crucial. And I realize that we are in a different lane. You know what I mean? Like those outlets can exist, they can do all the clout chasing and destruction and whatnot, and we're gonna bring forth like the positive energy and the vibes. I see Righteous asking who was this person. You wouldn't even know. Like it's like I said, it's a social media personality, just someone who's online, that like to be honest,
we'll just say her name, just that's all. Like,
okay, well her name is Debbie. That's who she went by, and I think like the hashtag is Debbie Gang. So if you go on Instagram, you can like look that up if you like. But for me, it's not necessarily just her in particular, but it's just like the issue, the culture, and because like hip hop is dear to my heart, and this is not the foundations. This is not like what it's about. You know what I mean? Like we're here to like uplift and support each other. Like, yes, we want to tell our stories and speak our truths, and hip hop will always, gauge and show us, where we are in society. But what it has shown us is like the platforms that we're creating, like as Stolen from Africa, why it's so important, because there really isn't any other like outlets or spaces that are creating positivity, where there's intelligence, where there's healing, where there's like culture, identity, and just like ways to like be inspired, that doesn't require like destruction. Like we're about like understanding the whys and hows, like the cause, not the effect. Like how did we even get here? What are the process? I mean, like what are some ways that we can move forward? So when I see these things happen, like it just really gives us more opportunities to continue what we're doing, and like we're building it, man. As I say, man, you build it and they will come. So
absolutely, yo.
Reminisce Show, yo. Reminisce Show.
Reminisce Show all day. And like I was saying about about the 6 o'clock news and stuff, like whether Dan Rather or Barbara Walters or any of them old Walter Cronkite even, like, yo, like those people put in 25, 30-year careers of every single day getting on and telling the truth as they were reading it. And it's like, yo, if you're a real journalist, if you care about justice in society, if you care about humanity, if you care about Black culture and our progress and our healing, it's not about going to one event and fucking you don't go to Afrofest once and just cover it once and then you're done. Like, what the fuck? No. This is life. Like, we're doing this for 20, 30, 40 years, and we're going to maintain the integrity for 20, 30, or 40 years. It's not not a single one of our shows is going to broadcast any fuckery. No, like, we talk about the violence, but we will not be exploiting it. We will be like, yo, why is the violence happening in Toronto or New York, blah, blah, blah? Why is the mental health issue happening? Whatever. We're not celebrating it and just like poking fun at these things. It's really just that long reputation of having like, yo, we're like part of the solution, not part of the problem. Right? Because like some of these magazines and some of these websites and stuff, like, I mean, we could go back to friggin' fucking Vibe magazine in 1996. Be like, yo, Vibe magazine very much played a part in a lot of the violence in fucking Death Row Bad Boy violence. Like, it was not it was not even an East Coast West Coast war. That was the media who made that word. This is what integrity means. Like, But I have the fucking issue of Vibe magazine, Biggie and Puffy on the cover, and it says East versus West. It's like, what are you talking about? It's fucking
Fury, man.
it's Death Row versus Bad Boy, and it's really Suge Knight versus fucking Puffy. And
That's
Puffy
it.
didn't even want to fight Suge Knight, and Biggie and Tupac were friends. So it's like one person versus another person plus some toxic media
Yep.
turns into fucking 30, 40, 50 dead black bodies and drive-bys for years and fucking people dead in multiple cities. So it's like integrity, journalism, fucking honesty, truth, responsibility. That's what we're about. And it's never going to change.
And we're bringing it, man. Yo, shout out Debbie in the chat, man, saying you are teaching this old white lady a good Sankofa education. Ashe, okay.
Yeah, Debbie, enough love. That's why we do it.
That's why we do it, man. You know, like each one teach one. And that is hip hop, man. The last element of hip hop to me, man, is knowledge, man. Like, you know, and we bring that everywhere we go. It's a way of life, you know. It's just not something that we just speak on, man. It's something that we live by example. You know what I mean? So that's what we're doing right now. But yeah, man, like I'm excited for, like, you know, the things that we're going to keep bringing on and the conversations that we're going to have, and you know, creating more space for like mental health, man. Like on our Instagram live session that we have called You Good Fam, that I do with Symbolic and some other friends. You know, we really spoke on just like healing, like, you know, intergenerational like traumas and you know, just like, you know, speaking about like music and just other ways that we can support each other. And I feel like with all this destruction that I see on social media, like more than ever, it's like needed, you know, and this is where we become like at the forefronts of that. Like I want when people see us, they know that, yo, like you can come as you are, man. Like we're here to figure out how we can support and network and build and you know, push the culture forward and each other. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's not about yeah.
Yo, and I love how you said that, come as you are, because that's the point. And it's like, yo, not everybody, shout out to that song by Shad called Black Averageness. And
Right.
like not everybody is aspiring to be Drake, and not everybody will be Drake and be a multimillionaire, top of the world. Some of us are just going to be regular dudes on the street, just like you just being a person in the crowd at a hip hop concert. You could be a DJ, a journalist, whatever. It's like the culture takes all kinds, and like not everybody is fucking royalty, and not everybody should be. So it's just like, come as you are. If you're going through some stuff, you can confess it here. This is a safe place. You don't even have to be like, we don't, you know, like I love that we don't have to front like, oh, we're on some Instagram shit where we always have to be smiling and looking our best, whatever. It's like, nah, yo, like if you have a bad week, yo, just be like, I'm having a shitty week, yo. This is life. And it's peace. Like this is a space that we can be like, yo, man, like we're here. It's safe for you. And everybody's had a bad week. Like,
that's it, man.
You know, so
Word,
yeah, man.
We're going to keep the energy strong, man. I don't know, as we're like wrapping up for today, man, if there's any other thing in the news that came up. You mentioned a versus, actually, like a new versus coming up.
Oh yeah. Shout out to that real quick. The versus that's coming up seems pretty interesting because it looks like, with all due respect, they're like, yes, you know, some of the greatest verses are obviously the historic events that happen, like Dipset versus the Lox is amazing, and then like KRS-One versus Big Daddy Kane is super fire. But other people are like, yo, this is a lot of New York energy, and it's like, so, and that's valid and fair for sure. So some of the people at Versus were like, okay, we're gonna move it out of New York, and apparently it's a special thing where it's Migos. They're not battling, but Migos is performing. And then the battle is going to be apparently Littles versus Biggs. And it's Big Sean and Big Boy versus Little John and then another little rapper from Atlanta. I don't know. That's the one I don't know. I don't know. It sounds like a young cat from Atlanta, but his name is Little something. I don't know. I can't judge this music. Never heard it, I'm like, I'm cool with that. That's a good look. Like, that's cool. Like, spread it around. That's you know, I ain't mad.
Yeah, no. Like, I look, man. It's all for the culture, and you know, I like, you know, seeing people come together and showcasing their talents and building, man. You know what I mean? And it's something that we can do collectively. You know, it's like, you know, because like when you think of like a live performance, it's like, you know, like city to city, venue to venue, but this is kind of like this like larger like global like venue that we all can like tap into and experience like as this like larger collective community. You know what I mean? Because like when like the KRS-One joint was going down, like, you know, it's not just Americans watching that, like everybody's watching that. Like if you're in a hip hop, man, you're plugged in, you know, and just having that collective like experience, you know, like I think is really cool. So, and
100%.
This is us being in these digital spaces, you know, this is what it looks like, you know, like maybe next time we might be in Decentraland with our virtual goggles, and, you know, I'll have like the SFA like 3D avatar, and like, you know, that's it, man.
That's wild, yo. I mean, it's sooner or later it's gonna happen, yo. Like 3 to 5 years, maybe less. That's what's up. Yeah. So, yo, I mean, I don't. If we're coming to the end of the show, yo, I got gold, yo. Oh yes, yo, right, yo, Righteous, yes, yo. No. Mad love to Righteous. The last piece of news we got to say something about. That is real. I saw it, and I mean, I'm still doing some research on it. I don't know if you know Logic, but Alpo was shot in Harlem. Did you see?
I saw briefly. Like I'm gonna have to do some more research. I don't have enough information to comment on that. But I'm gonna look into now. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, though.
Yeah. I've been doing some research. Mad love to you, Righteous, for bringing that up. And like, I mean, it's a still developing story, because it's like who hit him? Was it like Harlem Cats, or was it the DC Cats? And it's like this was. I mean, it's just the code of the streets. It's like it's infinite karma. It's life lessons. It's like it's Black history and Black mafia, like crime. It's like, yo, I think he was 55 or 53. Anyways, he was past his 50s, so it's like this is a man who just was murdered for snitching. Also, I mean, he did rat out a lot of people to minimize his sentence for the drug dealing that he did. And this is one of Harlem's biggest drug kingpins, was murdered in a drive-by. So yeah, it was. I mean, the paid in full story with Cameron and Mekhi Phifer and yo, it's a classic hip hop movie.
Right.
And they did some of the story of these Harlem hustlers, and it's like one of the OG American gangster stories. It's
interesting.
I mean, it's not. I'm not promoting violence, but it's a fact that it happened. But there is, you know, when people rat on each other, like,
I guess,
there's usually consequences. There's usually consequences, even if it takes 20, 30 years for those consequences to come back. Like the street is deep like that. So it's like, wow. The thing is, I saw a video. There's a video, if you watch it, and yo, bro, if you can find it, find this video, because there's a dude who sits beside Alba, and like they take him to the crime scene where he actually murdered like his brethren, and like they literally reenacted in a car. They go, okay, I picked them up here, and they drive to the scene. And they're like, okay, this is the moment. This is the place. This is the intersection where he was shot. He's like, yep. Right now is when my brethren stood up, turned around, shot him in the back of the. Like they recreate the crime, and like with a camera. Like you go to the spots, and then they're like, okay, well, where did you dump the bodies? Like, okay, well, we drove down there, and it's like, holy shit. So him putting out all this stuff is kind of like, it's kind of wow, bro, you said all this. Like, I'm not surprised that people retaliated. So
crazy, man, crazy.
I'm not even about the gun life, but like, streets is real.
Yeah, but to me, these are really like interesting like stories, and you know, I don't know if there's other movies or anything that's like done on him, but who knows? Maybe this might be like a series that 50 Cent taps into, because I know he's doing like the BMF story and whatnot, and you know, there's a lot of these narratives, you know, because like when we think of like mafia, like we always hear like Italian and, you know, and so on and so forth, but when we think of like like our culture, it's like on like the, just like kind of like street runner like level, but not like this, like, yo, there is like an organized like like operation that's like international. So not to glorify it, but it is interesting to hear these stories and narratives, right? Because oftentimes it's not just about like the drug dealing, but there's also other like social economical factors that are going into like the decisions. That's like how they got into it and the whys and whatnot. So I'm always intrigued by just hearing like, like these like transparent stories, and not to glorify it, but to really learn from it and just gain understanding, because some people think people just get into, drug dealing just because, man, they're bored or something like that. But like, there's a lot of factors that go into it, so interesting.
There really is. And like, I want to end it on this note. I've been listening to a lot of Cameron lately because I'm just a fan of Cam. And Cam started off as a really degenerate New York rapper, and he kind of still is. But he also has evolved, and like he's not he's like, yo, man, it's like he raps nowadays. He's like, you know what? If you sell crack and you have no other option, do that. But he's like, if you really want out of the trap, he'd be rhyming like, try to sell hats or try to sell shoes or try to sell like, he's like, yo, I'm about this hustling, but at some point I want to live. And he's enough of like Big L died, Bloodshed died. A lot of his people and his crews have died. So he's like, yo, man, like I've evolved. And Cameron is selling fucking Viagra now. He's called Pink Horsepower. Like Cameron he's like, yo, Cameron's even acting with Brandy on that Queen show.
Right.
So Cam's like, yo, man, like the street. I come from the street life. I've sold crack. I've shot people. I'm New York to the tits and balls. But like, you either retire or you go to jail. And like, dying and going to jail are not good options. So like, real criminals. I love that Dead Prez album title. It goes, can't deal dope forever or can't sell dope forever. That's just a classic title. So it's just, I'm saying all this to say like, peace to all the criminals out there and like, yo, like, hope y'all get out one day and like not in a box or in a jail cell, but like, hope y'all retire. And Colleen, we're just working on stuff. Colleen, let us know. Colleen's comment is up about the timing, so we're still making decisions about whether we're gonna move or not. Let us know if 6 o'clock works for you. If you like the old time or whatever. We in adjustments.
Yeah, we had to adjust today because something came up in the schedule, or whatever. But then out of that adjustment came the idea or potential idea to move it from 7 till 6, to kind of be like 6 o'clock news, and we can do our thing in that capacity. So that might be an option. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what's up. I know that next week we are going to be a little early. So next week
definitely early. I'd like to start at 5:30 next week, just because I get the very occasional independent job it's a very lucrative opportunity. So I could use the money to pay for new bookshelves, because God damn it, I need some bookshelves.
Yeah, man, you all up in your new spot, man. So that's what's up, man.
And man, yo, thanks to all the viewers and listeners as always. And yo, man, I'm talking about all these goodies I have. Let me pull one of them out.
What you got?
So, this is super special. I don't like, my lighting isn't even up. I don't have a lamp here, but see,
Dream Warriors. Okay, was that like a comic book? Like what?
1994.
Wow, that's in mint condition, man. That's like fresh.
I have a couple of them. The thing is, this was, and this goes back to pre-social media days, where it's like, yo, this came out in 94, where what did you have? It was, what did you have to market your album? You had billboard ads, you had magazine ads, and then you had word on the street, and then radio ads. That's it, basically. And then like, they came up with a street team, and they all right, now we got stickers. So it's like there was only a few ways, flyers. There's only a few ways you could even spread the word. So this is literally one of the first times in Canadian hip hop history that anybody did anything else to promote their product.
Wow. Social
Dream
media.
Dream Warriors made this comic, and like, yo, I got the ad inside for the album. Like, logically, big up the album, and like, they're selling it at HMV. And then this is when they added that Indian guy Spec. Do you remember that?
Right. Well, of course.
Yeah.
Yo,
So
this is like Nardwar level of like content. You know what I mean? Like when we interview Dream Warriors, you got to be pulled out. So it's like, so guys, what do you think about this?
damn right, yo.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry
that's
that
right, man.
you can't really see it that well.
Oh,
I just
we got you. But still, just the fact that they have a comic book, man, that's real dope.
yeah. And yeah, man, yo, it's drawn really well.
I want my own comic book, man. Shoot.
Yeah. Oh shit, yo. Yo, that's oh, look at this compilation. Kicking the flavor.
I love it.
Love the slang. 10 representing hip hop tracks, kicking the flavor that you savor. Kicking the flavor that you savor.
And it's the flavor.
Yeah, no, it's the flavor that ya savor. They even say savor as S-A-V-A. Y'all don't know the way we used to talk.
Get it right.
Yeah, including new tracks by Dream Warriors, Diggable Planet, Spearhead, Lords of the Underground, Boogie Monsters.
Ooh.
Like, oh man, what a
Reminisce.
yo, the reason I'm saying all this is because I was like, this looks like the style of a certain someone. And if you look real close, you see it?
Director X?
Little X before he was even director. Like, yeah, any like I knew it.
Bravo.
Yeah, I was like, yo, man. I was like, this looks like Director X.
You gotta bubble wrap that, man. You gotta like hold that because that's gonna come out when we interview Director X as well. Shout out to Director X, man. He actually just celebrated his birthday, man. His birthday's on Halloween. Which
He's a Halloween cat.
Very fitting. It's very fitting for him, man. He's a really like mysterious, interesting guy. You know what I mean? So, you know, shout out to the Halloween guy.
yes, for real. But yo, we do gotta talk to him one day, yo. 2022, we gotta talk to that cat.
We got it, man. All right, man.
But yeah, yo, I'm so happy to share these gems with you. And this is the beginning of a new level of reminiscing, because yo,
we're definitely going to get it, man. So next week, you know, because of scheduling, we're going to be coming on at 5:30, and then the following week, you know, we'll see if 6-7 o'clock works well. I know that Colleen is saying, you know, in her humble opinion, prefers 7 because 6 o'clock is typically dinner time, but we'll try to watch it. I mean, we can always watch this while we're having dinner. You know, this is a TV dinner.
Yes, true, exactly. Yes, but
you know what I'm saying? But,
yeah, just have us on in the background. You know. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. It's like an audio podcast vibe, which eventually we're going to be putting some of our interviews and chats like on Spotify as well. You know, some of our classic interviews that we've had in the past moving forward. But yo, big up to everyone for rocking with us, man, and having a great discussion as always. And yeah, man, we'll be out here next week representing, man, Reminisce Show, carrying editions of St. Kofa, because sometimes you got to go back to collect what you may have forgotten, man. And you know, like, what's a tree without roots, man? So let's make sure our roots are nice and deep, man, so we can go high into the sky. All right.
Word up.
What's up, man? So yo, we out like that. Till next time, y'all. Peace.